Morning, guys. All right, guys. Yesterday, Mo Hurst tore his bicep, so he'll need surgery. Ridgway had a mild quad strain, so he'll be out a couple weeks. Go ahead.
Is that a season ender for most likely?
We'll see after surgery, but usually that's how biceps work out, but don't know for sure.
Man, horrible luck for that guy.
Yeah, it was a little jet sweep. Just put his hand out and just grabbed the guy, and it just went out.
Is there anything new on Debo that you can share in terms of progress there?
And I know they're grinding through it. That's all I can share. But nothing's been done yet, but I know they're working hard on it.
Anything in particular you can glean from the last couple practices?
I've been real happy with it. Having three practices in. I thought the first day was not as much as I wanted. You know, we start off just a little slower. We do less reps. The second day was my favorite day because we got a ton of reps. I felt like we got a real football practice in. Yesterday we backed it off a little, just the way we do reps, and today will be much harder. And I'm really excited to get these 4 days out of the way because we're past putting pads on. We need to get that going.
We can all see with our eyes what's going on when Trey's out there. What's it been like behind the scenes? Have you been happy with his decision making, where the ball's going, his rhythm and timing, all that stuff?
Yeah, I thought, like I think I said the last time, I thought he had a really good day the second day, and yesterday, I think he had 2 picks, and both of them I was very happy with the throws. There's something we got to get on the same page with the wideouts on, and that's what camp's for, letting it rip. And when the guy doesn't do what you're expecting, that's what happens. But when you don't let it rip, and you say, because I wasn't sure what he was going to do, that's when the guy running the route doesn't learn either. So I love those 2 decisions.
You thought of the secondary so far, and how has the addition of Ward maybe changed the attitude back there?
I mean, just having him back there is definitely different. You know, the way he moves, the way he plays. It's been really good to have. He's challenging our receivers. The way E-Man's been has been great. The way he put in the work this offseason, finally had a healthy offseason. He always does it, but this year when you're healthy, you get to really improve. And he's come ready to go, and been real excited with those guys, which, like I said, I think the last time, we had some guys play last year that got some experience, and then that really helps for depth, them coming into camp now.
Going back to what you said yesterday about playing 3 games in 13 days or whatever it is, do you have to start now, knowing that that's sort of looming next month, and kind of gauging how much these guys can practice, or trying to shove a lot of practice into these first 2 weeks to accommodate that?
No, we got everything. No, we will never just shove practice in, because then you risk too many setbacks with injuries and stuff. So that's what takes a long time to do training camp schedules. We don't just go out there and practice, and we know every single person's rep before the practice, how many reps they're getting in a day, how many they're getting in a week, and how many they're getting in an entire camp before game 1. So that's stuff that we put a lot of work into. It was a challenge. It took more work than usual because of that. But you end up figuring it out to where if everything goes according to plan, you'll get the same work as always. It's just a little different way to get to it as far as numbers and reps. The problem is nothing ever goes to plan, because you're going to lose a couple guys here, a couple guys there. Now do you cancel practice because you don't have enough guys? No, you got to give one guy 4 more reps than you planned on. How many days does he have to do that? If it's too much, then you've got to bring in another person, which means you got to cut somebody. So everything's balanced out with numbers and their output of all their GPS stuff. So it's complicated.
Is your plan still to get Kinlaw and team drills today, and then once you guys get pads on Monday, what do you want to see out of him, just in terms of I guess his conditioning, and also like the mean streak he brings onto the field for you?
I just want to see him get through practice and play some football. I mean, Javon's got everything in his body and in his mindset that he's going to be a hell of a player. He was able to get a good surgery and go through the whole right steps for a long off season. That's finally put him in a position that he's going to be healthy enough to practice. And he is right now. We're just trying to be smart with that, because if Javon can practice consistently and we can build him up to that, everything will take care of itself. We just got to be smart with his history and what he went through with that knee injury in Dallas a couple years ago. And we feel like we're in a very good spot right now. We just don't want to get too excited and throw him out there so much and have a setback. So Javon's just about taking it one day at a time, and after every practice, taking care of himself and trying to avoid any setbacks.
You're going to practice in team drills today?
Mike.
early impressions been of Kamoko Toure?
Same as OTAs. He's a very talented guy. Just studying him coming out of college, you knew that. Seeing him on his NFL tape, and since he's been here, we've been extremely impressed. Excited for all the D linemen, especially to get the pads on and stuff. But he's a candidate. Almost every one of our 16 D linemen is a candidate, though.
Is there a possibility that Jason Verrett could play slot? He did it a while back, with the Chargers, but is that a possibility for him to come back in?
Could play anything. So Jason's, again, just about getting healthy, too, and then just seeing how we want to balance it out, whether it's matchups, where E-Man's at, where Mooney's at. But Jason is as good a corner there is. So you guys know his history. So we're just pulling for Jason to get healthy, and he's on the right path. And if he does get there, we'll figure out how to balance those guys out. But that's something I really hope that we need to figure out.
That slot position last year, in that Rams game at the end of the regular season last year, Denard came in, I think, on like 3 or 4 days of being with the team. He played those 18 snaps. Talanoa said that he learned the playbook in 1 day. How impressive was what he did from your vantage point?
That was so impressive. I mean, you're talking about the last game of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was extremely impressive. I remember that whole week, we had a bunch of guys out. Guys were getting sick and stuff, and some guys hurt. And I remember that Sunday morning, we were hoping to get 4 guys back that we thought we would. We knew it was going to be 50-50, but we were thinking positively, and we found out we didn't get any of those 4. So we had to bring guys in and play that hadn't played before, and it was just we didn't know. I mean, we gave Denard as much as reps as we could, but you just hope he's on it and planning on it and working away from us as much as he can, and he got out there for 18 reps, and they all say they do, but you really know when you see him out there, and he showed us he's a guy we can count on, a guy we can trust.
Yeah, K1, he was only a nickel. Do you guys do spitballing of like matchups and what you guys can possibly do when you have guys like Mosley and Verrett and Ward who can all have a little bit of experience in the slot?
You'd love, just like O-linemen. You got how many corners you get up on game day, and usually it's 5. And there's 3 out there the majority of the time, and sometimes you can get 4 out there. But you need other guys to play special teams. So when guys go down, that was tough with K1 because he was a nickel only. So if other guys went down, you couldn't move them around as much. So you'd love to have guys to move around. But first and foremost, you want a guy who can play that position the right way, and that's what was so great about K1. But sometimes when people are just inside, when you're outside the numbers, there's a certain element of your 40 time and stuff. You got to be able to stop a go route, and if you don't always do that, you can hide a little bit more inside with that because of the way you play with leverage. You can't run a go route right away. It's got to be a wide and go and things like that. You can play outside leverage, so it allows guys who might not have that elite 40 speed to still be very good corners.
We're watching in the spring. Jason Poe was with the third team group and seemed a little bit, overwhelmed at times early in that spring. Now he's with the second. What did you see from him throughout the spring that kind of encouraged you that he could take on a bigger role this camp?
We planned on this from the beginning of the spring. This spring wasn't. It was almost individual the whole time with the O-line. So that was just watching guys move and stuff. When we got together as a team, we were going half speed. So we didn't get a ton out. We didn't learn a lot about our O-line going against defense. We got to learn a lot about them and how they move and what type of guys they are, and just Chris working with them individually. But we're learning a lot right now, and that's why we got to put all these guys in that spot.
About him in particular, what have you seen?
He's got the tools. He looks undersized, so that's probably why we were able to get him when we did. But he's got the tools to do it. He's got the length. He's got the mindset, and I really like the type of pro he acts like. That he's not worrying about anything. He's going out there every single play and trying to get after it, and doesn't seem intimidated by the process of it.
Well, you mentioned you'd had a conversation with Debo about his role. Was that conversation? Do things need to be spelled out? Regarding how he'll be used this year in order for contract negotiations to kind of enter their last stage?
Oh. About these press conferences. Now it just clicked. Welcome back. No, guys, Debo and I talk a lot. We're good, and we understand our role. I know there's a lot of noise for 5 months and tweets, and a lot of people are repeating what someone said and repeating. There's a lot of negotiations going on. There's a lot of money involved. It's a big business deal. But besides everything else, we're good.
You mentioned that Ambry and Diamador got thrown out probably before they were ready last year. What have you seen from them these last 3 days that give you confidence in what they did in the offseason and going
I think they were better yesterday than they were the first day. So that was day 3. There are up and downs through camp, and we got a lot more competition, which I think they're realizing now. Similar to something like Ayuk in his first year. Sometimes you get in a position and you get thrown in stuff, and that's all you know of the NFL. You don't realize what the group is quite at that time, and I think they're seeing now that, all right, this is much more of a group, and that we got to really fight to get some playing time, and I see them doing that each day.
Would you say this is the most competition you've had in the secondary since you've been here?
Yeah, I'd say so.
More pads coming on. Do you have anything with load management with Trey, like in the run game and stuff? Like, cause with RG3 and Johnny, that's more outside stuff. Anything in the inside stuff that like.
No, because they're not going to hit them. And if they do, I'm not going to change the load management. I'm going to get whoever hit them out of there. So should be all right.
What can you assess from running backs now without pads on versus when you put them on Monday?
You can assess who's a natural runner. It's very easy to do that because our practices aren't that much different when we have helmets on. The way we come off the ball, the way you use your hands. You don't bang shoulders that much. You use your helmets, you use your face, you use your hands, and so you can see when backs can go full speed, not get stuck, hit the right hole. But no matter how good they look, you don't know for sure until they know they're going to get hit. And that's when you find out in the preseason. You can know who's a talented guy and who hits the right holes, but you want to see their mindset when they know the running back knows people are coming for him, and you want to see if he's going for them.
How healthy is Elijah Mitchell? How does he look so far?
He's looked good. He had a tough offseason just coming back from his injury, so he didn't get to do much in OTAs. It was great to have him out there these first 3 days, so he's easing his way back into it, but I'm just glad he's getting back to health.
All right, guys. Appreciate it, guys.